Today marks the 30-day deadline imposed by the Minister of Transportation to fix BC Ferries executive pay, and discussions are ongoing, and there's no word on a new deal just yet. We'll let you know if there is. The Greater Victoria Chamber of Commerce is concerned about what's happening with BC Ferries and the cost of running it, and CEO Bruce Carter is here to explain a little bit. Good morning, how are you?
Good, great to be here.
Talk to me a little bit about what the concerns are. What kind of concerns does the chamber have?
Well, it's time to talk BC Ferries again. We do have the review of the salaries coming, but we're more concerned about the broader picture. We're more concerned about the fact that essentially our ferries system isn't sustainable the way that it is, and the solutions are really pretty simple, unfortunately. Either buckets of money from the provincial government, buckets of money from those people who pay fares, or rationalizing service, or some combination of those.
Okay, and a couple of those, people are like, I don't know if I want to pay any more. Government's like, I'll bet you we don't have a whole lot of money to throw into this.
Well, and if you're on any of the routes, you're going to say, hey, I don't want a reduction in service. So none of these are easy, but unfortunately, those are the levers that exist to deal with this. What the government has said is they're going to go out and consult again. Well, you know what? They consulted less than a year ago. They've consulted about a year prior to that. BC Ferries consulted. It's time to come up with a plan and consult about the plan. A general consultation isn't going to move this forward, isn't going to address the challenges, and I think it's actually going to hurt credibility as opposed to saying, hey, these are the options that we have, what do you think of these, or this is what our plan is, what do you think of it, can you make it better?
What kind of feedback are you getting? And we'll get into a little bit about the letter writing campaign a little bit, but what are you hearing from people that, we're all BC Ferries users at some point. What are you hearing generally?
Well, certainly we're all BC Ferries users. What we're hearing is that the cost on the major routes in particular, or the cost overall on the routes, is getting beyond what is economically feasible. The challenge that we have, particularly as a chamber, is that we continue to raise rates on the major routes in particular, and cut services on the major routes because we have a capacity on those in order to pay for either northern routes or for the Gulf Island routes. And that doesn't work, particularly if you have to ride the major route first before you ride the minor route. So, and the other part of that is, so not only does that affect personal travel, but that affects every product that we have on the island. I mean, virtually every bit of groceries that we have comes on there. So as we start to raise BC Ferries rates, we'll see it reflected in the price of broccoli.
Is the business model broken for BC Ferries? Does it have to be totally retooled as far as how they approach their day-to-day business?
Well, absolutely they do. I mean, BC Ferries was designed as a system that carries cars. Not really one that connects communities, ones that carries cars or carries vehicles. The patterns of travel have changed, the transportation options have changed, and it really needs to become an integrated service that finds a better way to connect communities. You can look up as far as Sandspit. If you have a ferry that's running at 7 o'clock at night and it's got 3 people on it, would you be better off running a small airplane to do that? Mm-hmm. Now you're not going to get a truck on an airplane, but there are lots of areas around service delivery that we need to look at. We even look at the terminals in Nanaimo. We don't have to go that far away. Costs us about $30 million a year in expense over and above operating to run both Duke Point and Horseshoe Bay. We don't need both those terminals. Certainly for the majority, 10 months out of the year, we don't need them both.
What are you asking for from the general public as we move forward on this, and as you get involved in basically what's going on?
Well, you know what? I think it's time to write the Minister of Transportation, Minister Todd Stone, and say, you know what? Let's not do a consultation that doesn't have as much value as it could have. Let's go. Why don't you create the solution that you want to have? Because this is really the government who's issuing the contract to BC Ferries. Why don't you go and create a solution and let us know what that is and talk to us about that as opposed to talking to us about our general concerns. I think you have enough information about that.
That's true. Or does the general public have the answers?
Well, yeah, certainly I think they'd be better able to improve upon a solution at this stage as opposed to saying don't do anything. And I think that's the challenge with the consultation is you can go round and round again, and lots of people are going to say don't cut the major routes and don't raise the fares, and then a lot of people are going to say don't cut the Gulf Island routes and don't raise the fares, and then we're going to hear the same thing for the northern routes, and then we're going to hear the government say yes, but we don't have any more money to pour into BC Ferries.
Right on. Bruce Carter's our guest. He's the CEO of the Greater Victoria Chamber of Commerce. So you're initiating a letter-writing campaign, am I getting that right?
We are. We're doing a letter-writing campaign. There's a suggested letter online at victoriachamber.ca, and you can fill that out and send that to the minister. I think it's important that they hear from the residents of Vancouver Island that, we need you to come up with a solution, not just consult without really much focus on what you're talking about.
Can BC Ferries balance their budget? I mean, don't they need, $26-odd million to do that currently? Is that about right?
Well, they do. And, if you look at the Duke Point terminal alone, if you close that, you'd save $30 million. It's not that simple. I mean, there is some capacity issues around that need to be dealt with. But if you looked at terminal rationalization throughout the region, you looked at what minimum levels of service really are on routes and provided what you needed, I think BC Ferries can balance its books.
All right. Bruce is going to be back, by the way, 10 o'clock, and we'll give you an opportunity to have your say, and we'll take some calls with Pamela McCall on this very issue itself as far as the future of BC Ferries. And is it something that you and I should say, we have a say in something that we use sometimes on a day-to-day basis. Appreciate you coming in today.
You bet. And everybody uses it on a day-to-day basis if you buy groceries.
That's a good point, for sure. Yes. Bruce, thank you for coming in today.
Great to be here.
Bruce Carter is CEO of the Greater Victoria Chamber of Commerce.